today I wanted to talk about a subject that I think is crucial to your viewpoint of who you are in the kingdom. It's crucial to your starting line. And when I say starting line, I mean your starting line of significance and calling. I heard in one video where this hairdresser was giving this like homeless dude a makeover, and the homeless dude was so young. And he's like, dude, you got so much still ahead of you. You're so cognitive and you can make it. And he just said this one line. He goes, man, it's not too late. He said, I was 43 when I showed up for my life. Wow. And I just thought, man, that took me back. I was like, wow, you showed up for your life. And so starting line in that, I think so many people will put their hand up for salvation, but then almost feel like they need to qualify for calling. And so this subject is going to tie into this. It's also one of the imperative things that makes this church not Audrey and Chris's church, but your church. I cannot stand, and I encourage you to correct people too. I never want people to call it our church. While it's my church, I've not achieved my goal. It has to be our church. Yeah. It's going to be our church. That's imperative. And so today's subject, we'll talk on that. But I also think it's one of the key, benefactors to flourishing leadership. I think it helps people move in the gifts of the Spirit. It helps people rise up to more. And so this subject today is going to be around ownership. Not just extreme ownership of how do I think of what I could do better, but also how do I feel like this is mine? How do I feel like my calling is mine and it's now? How do I feel like this church is mine and it's now? How do I feel like everything is mine and it's now? And so I would title this today, Refrigerator Rights. Refrigerator rights. Anyone, I don't know, how many of on this call that have been around for that long, but it takes me back to our first ever legendary intern class, where everybody was squeezed into our lounge room. And, we're trying to build this whole thing of like, hey, like, we're not just your pastors at a distance. Like, we want to be in your world. And we want you to know, like, this is yours. This is all it. And so we had this statement called refrigerator rights, where like, it's home when you don't ask permission to look in the fridge. Like when you can go into the fridge and just open it up and grab something, like, this is your home at that point. And so I title it that because I think when it's your home, you own it different. Like I watch the boys when their friends come over, like get to a certain point where they're like, don't jump on the lounges, man. Like, this is my house. It's like, I'm like, you don't jump on the lounges. You jump on the lounges all the time, but it's different when their friends do it because it's their house. And it's like, ownership makes you treat things different. Yeah. Also, having refrigerator rights, I think is one of the greatest signs of family. Yeah. I'll never forget, I meet Ords and I meet Ords and, things are getting serious. So I come back to Chicago and to meet the family. And I was feeling so awkward because I'm just an awkward person that way. I don't want to sleep in anyone else's bed. I don't want to like shower in someone else's bathroom. I don't want to do any of that. I'm just thinking, gosh, I'm going to meet Audrey's family. What's this? And the first thing that happens is like, my mother-in-law just greets me and she's like, this is the fridge. Grab what you want. Showed me where the snacks were. And I was like, oh, okay. You won me over. You won me over with food. Sorry, I've lost it. I don't know where it's gone. And so refrigerator rights creates family. I think it creates home and all the things that go with it. So, I lost. I got to do my little TikTok magnet mic now. I don't know where it is. Oh, found it. Okay. So I want people in our church, whether you're a first year college student or it's your first week serving, our goal is that they have refrigerator rights, that they own this thing. It's theirs. And I'll go back to our first year internship class. We talked about refrigerator rights and it got to the point where they were all over our house and we were hanging out and it got late. It was like 12. And I'm like, I don't know how to kick these people out. So I said to Ords, let's just go to bed and we'll just tell them lock up, when it's time to go. thinking they're going to be like, oh no, like, we'll go. I'll never forget, Jake Clamper just looked at me and goes, all right, good night. And like, we went to bed and they stayed for hours. We're like, these people don't get it. But it was this like funny reality that they really took ownership. So that is my goal for you today. And the reason is that I was looking through the Sunday, hearing reports, and there was just moments where I think we don't fully understand ownership. And we don't understand it in this way. There's a concept called span of control. It's the decisions that you are empowered to make. And the thing is, if we don't know the decisions that we're empowered to make, we'll often default, and then we stagnate opportunities for people to move and for growth. So we're going to talk about ownership. What's it look like for your own calling? What's it look like for church? What's it look like as a team member? And all the rest of it. So let's start with the first one. What is a good miss and a bad miss? If they're both misses, I think this is imperative to the key of ownership and making decisions. If there's good misses and bad misses, but yet they're both misses, how could one be good and one be bad? And I personally think there are good misses. Like, I teach my kids that when they play sport. I'm like, mate, if you've got an open shot, shoot it. Even if you miss, you were open. So it's a good miss. It's the idea that we're not going to get it right every time. But there is a time where it's our time to make the call. So a good miss, I think, happens in a vocal team when a team is making decisions, owning their area, communicating up the chain. Even if it results in a miss, that's a good miss. A bad miss is a miss that's caught up in silence, is caught up in not making a decision, and is made up in fear. So let's take it to an example. Let's say that there is a volunteers event going on, which there'll be one coming up. And let's just use Kenzie here, even though she'd have nothing to do with this. Like, Kenzie's got to make a decision on the menu, because if she doesn't make a decision on the menu, we're going to lose the vendor, and then we're not going to be able to have a venue, and it's going to put everything back. But she knows that, she's never really been, she's not sure if she should do it. But there's no one else is getting back to her. And let's say she chooses it and she chooses vegan. Obviously a mistake. Obviously a problem. Obviously there's some disgruntled people that night as they walk in needing some protein, and all they've got is tofurkey and, Satan. But if I was to look back at that, I would praise her for that. I would say that is the miss of a healthy team. Someone who is willing to make a decision beyond the fear of getting it wrong. I think it is better to get it wrong, trying to move forward, than it is to play it safe and go nowhere. Even if it becomes a volunteers ball that goes down in history because everyone's like, oh my God, there was very little flavor in those gym mats. Nonetheless, she made a decision. And I just want us to have license to actually embrace good misses. I go to some of our overseers, Chuck and Oshana, and I remember as their kids were getting older and learning to drive, they said they were like, man, they look stressed. Chuck and Ursh looked stressed. And I was like, what's up? And they're like, man, our kids are at that age where they've just got to make decisions and we've got to let them, but they're just so bad at it. And I'm like, okay. And I'm starting to see that as my kids get older, it's part of the process. But here's the thing, if I don't allow them to make bad decisions, they'll never learn how to discern a good one. Yeah. And it's one thing to have things done for you. It's another thing completely to experience them. Consider that ministry and discipleship often translates best to apprenticeship. A discipleship is like an apprenticeship, and an apprenticeship is when you learn by both obtaining knowledge and obtaining skills. Skills are obtained in the doing. I want you to know in this place that you can never be, whether your decision making is shaped and corrected, and maybe it's in retrospect, hey, Jack, It wasn't a great idea to order 1,000 trillion chocolates as a fundraiser for the church without checking with anyone. Thank you for making something happen. You know, like, let's talk about how we can make better decisions and how long it's going to take you to sell those chocolates. You know, like, the reality is a team that is afraid to move will die. And I would rather our youth pastor preach a bad message on his way to preaching great messages than preach no messages. Yeah. I'd rather Kenzie get us a bad menu before we have no menu or venue because someone didn't make the decision. I would say that whilst there are definite, things that will be communicated and you'll be told what you can and can't, we have to get okay and reconcile that there are good misses in leadership and bad misses in leadership. It is better to move and correct than it is to stay still and die. As you hear this, I want you to come away from today and make a list of decisions that you brought up the chain that you possibly could have made yourself and learnt from. Decisions that you brought up the chain that you possibly could have made yourself and learnt from. So we got to find the comfort with good misses and bad misses before anything. Here's number one. Responsibility takes action and control without being controlling. Responsibility takes action and control without being controlling. What do I mean by that? Well, I would say that one of the things that has served me best in leadership has been controlling my environment and taking extreme ownership over every variable. But how that works is that I'm not the only stakeholder, right? I'm not the only person in my team. I'm not the only person doing what I do. So when it comes to actually owning something but not being controlling, it means that I'm present is the first thing. I'm present in all the areas that affect what I lead. I'm present in the production team. I'm present in the logistics team. So if I'm in the production team and I'm concerned that there's snow and I'm not sure if they're going to account for everything, I don't have to be controlling by being overbearing, but man, I can check in and I can be like, hey, I just want to communicate. Tomorrow there's a lot riding on this. I want to know, do you guys have a contingency plan for frozen locks? Do you have a contingency plan for snow? Do you have a contingency plan for traffic? How can I help you? Ownership extends and it breaks down the barriers between my team and your team, and it becomes our team. And it starts to ask the question, hey, how can I help you get there? On another example, I just announced there's going to be a launch of Pulse. So maybe now the health team is going, wow, this could really affect us and does affect us. We can't engineer, but man, let me call Jack and Winwin and go, hey guys, what do you need? Is there anything we've not given you? Is there anything that we're missing? I just want to make sure that for right now, while we don't know how to engineer, we are an extension of your team. Do you guys need coffee? We will get you coffee on late nights. Whatever it is, how can we help you? When you get a team mentality, you start to break down the walls of separation and you start to extend yourself into teams as a presence and solution, not as a controller. And so one of the things that I always teach people in leadership is, man, you've got to try and control the variables. And the only way you can control the variables is by being present and offering assistance. Ownership is when you actually take action and control without being controlling. Well, what's the opposite of that? Empowering. I can empower you by putting things on your radar. A lot of the time, I watch people get disgruntled with the leaders above them, but the leaders above them don't have the same view as the leaders below them. I can't see what X sees. X is in a whole different world. X has got a whole different skill set. X has got a whole different ministry heart. X is talking to different dudes. He's got this guys group that's been flourishing. X is going to see things I don't. So when X communicates to me, what it does is it brings me into the same viewpoint he has. And now we join our skill sets and we solve problems better and faster because we are actually helping each other see things that the other one doesn't. So I can actually empower you with my viewpoint. Hey, let me talk to you. I've noticed something. Man, the way we're loading in and out isn't effective. rather than thinking I'm going to step, like I hate the saying I'm going to step on toes. At People Church, we have this mantra we haven't said for a long time, but we don't believe on stepping on toes. The best I can only ever do is step on your heels. And what I mean by that is this. The only toes I can step on are those people on the sidelines. Yeah. So if their toes get hurt, I don't care because they're on the sidelines. Right. But I could step on heels because I'm catching up. Yeah. Wow. And that's not a bad thing. It makes us all realize we can move a little faster, move towards things. I want people on my heels because they press me, they push me into greater. And so don't be afraid that you're not going to bring insight because you're going to insult someone. No, this is a team of secure people. Right. So we welcome feedback. And if Jack comes up to me and he's like, hey man, I've seen that and I'm over logistics, and he goes, hey man, I've seen that there's some things here. Oh, thanks. I might not have seen that. Or Alec goes up to Eva and he says, hey, I've just noticed that there's culturally, I've noticed some of our connectors say this, but that's so not what I've seen Pastor Chris preach. Okay, yeah. I just thought, I don't even know what to do with it. But I know that you would. Even that, you don't always have to bring a solution, but you can flag a problem in humility. And I just think as we get bigger, communication has to get tighter. Yes. And when you communicate up the chain, you allow the people above you to see what your viewpoint has below them. Yeah. It is imperative, and that's a way that you can empower. Second thing is you can empower through ideas. Not every idea is the idea, but it can lead to the idea. Yes. I'm a big believer in that your ideas at the table lead to better ideas coming out of the room. Here's the great thing that happens through bringing ideas. One, other people share perspective that you might not have got. For example, I had one person come up to me once and said, I've got an idea and we need to change the way we promote grow groups. I was like, all for it. What are we going to do? He goes, we need to get every grow group leader up on a Sunday to give 5 minutes about their grow group. Now, I loved what he was doing, but I also was like, you don't know a lot. And let me just give you something that's going to get you on the journey without shutting you down. I go, that's awesome. And I think it would give people such a clear picture of everybody's grow group. Can you solve this for me? How do we have 30 grow groups give 5 minutes on a Sunday when we've only got 45 minutes? They quickly went down this, that doesn't work. Oh, dang, man, I actually think Eva's doing a good job. It changed their whole perspective. I didn't shut him down, but I was like, hey, I love that you're being innovative. Yeah. I can praise innovation, but let me now communicate to your idea. Yeah. But that did lead to a website that posted a bit more about people's grow groups. And why this matters is the best ideas are not being heard yet. The best ideas are probably living in our last row. And when we create an environment where people communicate up the chain, what you're doing is you're welcoming innovation, you're empowering people. And if you want to talk on how responsibility takes action and control without being controlling, you're empowering people with your idea, you're empowering people with your perspective. And the third thing is you can empower people with your gifting, which looks like this. I see a problem. Is there any way you see I could solve it? I think Eric Fields, right, is an incredible man. He's got great skills. Sharon Stoic, which I finally learned how to say her last name after saying hello to her and Matt for at least a year and a half. And it had our office. We're all like, how do you think you say that? No one knew. Everyone was like, no one knows, but we love them. Faith Murphy, 3 people I've just mentioned with incredible skills. But a lot of the time in ministry, I think we often imagine that you don't get to actually use those skills. We just assume everybody's tapped out and busy. Sometimes you're not going to gain them on your team, but you could gain them on your team for 5 minutes. Yeah. 5 minutes with Eric's perspective or Sharon's perspective or Faith's perspective might resolve something that I never understood, that I couldn't resolve in my team. So when you come and you bring a problem and you also offer your skill set for a minute, you go, hey, look, I can't be on your team, but do you want to get together for a coffee and see if we can, and if they don't need you, they don't need you. But I'll tell you what, making your skill set available richens the team. And all of a sudden we are a team of owners. Here's another thing about ownership. Ownership is when you value things that aren't directly your responsibility. How do we walk past the parking team and notice something without thinking, glad that's not my problem? How do we keep owning the different areas? Like a few weeks ago, there was a bottleneck, you know? I would be blessed as a pastor if I heard from 7 different college students and 5 different volunteers, hey, there was a bottleneck in the parking lot, I have an idea. Because right there, what I see is ownership. I'm like, oh, everybody gets it. Yeah. And I think ownership as well takes action before it complains. One of the worst things that can happen, one of my favorite examples in the book of extreme ownership is that basically a reoccurring theme as they were working with corporations was they'd find disgruntled divisions and they would simply ask this question: do you think Maddie wants to forget you? Like, do you think Maddie and the creative team wants to forget you? Like, let's say they overlooked something for Pastor Angel and Lucy for the marriage, premarital. Do Pastor Angel and Lucy walk away and go, oh, Maddie hates us? Obviously not. They're mature and amazing people. They understand the flow of things. So they don't assume the worst. But what does happen a lot in team is, I gave Michaela feedback for kids and she didn't even talk to me. Or I've gotten back to Shannon about a budget and I haven't heard anything, which is unlikely because she's incredible. But like all these things, they can happen. And the minute we start to associate it with a lack of unity or support is the minute we break. Yeah. But the minute we bring ownership to it is like, Maddie hasn't got back to me. Let me get back to Maddie and see if I can help her with how she gets back to me. In doing so, you highlight her own miss to her in a very graceful way, but you also extend and believe she's not missing it because she wants to. She's missing it for some other reason. And as a team, how do we all cover each other? So when you do this extreme ownership idea and you walk it out, you start to walk through teams and you start to consider, man, my decisions, my gift, and my communication is necessary, not optional. Yeah. And I just want to bring this. It seems like, I know on a big staffy, I could give you a whole bunch of keys on discipleship and maybe how you could be empowered, and we could talk more about that. But I just felt at the moment, the worst thing that can happen in this season of extreme growth and a new venue is that we could grow insular, considering that someone else has accounted for it. Because we sometimes think our insights are small and silly, when the reality is your insights are imperative. And I want to empower you to make more decisions, quicker decisions, bigger decisions, versus finding yourself frustrated. And one of the things that happens is instead of taking action, we vent. And venting can look like this. This is what I saw on one Sunday team, or I heard about with one Sunday team. And again, not a theme, nothing serious. But there was one team that was huffing and puffing a bit, complaining about another team and being like, this is frustrating. And I go, look, do we all do that sometimes? Yes. My problem is this. What I've learned as the family gets bigger is that a model I was taught in my marriage course in college was don't fight in front of the kids unless you're going to make up in front of them. And I think sometimes we complain about a team to a team, but then we don't resolve in front of that team, nor is it covering the team. Right. Noah's sons walked in backwards and covered his nakedness. Right. And I think sometimes what we do is we spread panic and frustration when we vent before we take action. Venting is waste that is being released. But you could be constructive with conversations that both build the team that is missing and build your reputation as a leader and a coverer. One of the worst pieces of fruit I ate from in my early leadership as an intern was not covering a guy. He actually became one of my best friends. I remember the pressure was on him. He was running security and I was running hosting, and he goes, dude, I'm short 2 guys. Can you give them to me? And I just looked at him and I said, I can't, man. And he goes, come on, please. I go, I just can't spare him. Like a smart Alec. And anyway, later that day, hosting was backed up and my boss was on my back, and I looked at him. I was like, bro, I need one guy. He goes, I can't. I go, come on, bro, you can. He's over there eating lunch. He goes, and he just looked back at me with a half smile. He goes, I just can't spare him. And I didn't even say anything. I was just like, lesson learned. If I'm going to have people play for me, I've got to show up for them when they need me.
Yeah.
And one of the best ways of being a team is, rather than venting my frustrations with my brother's lack, how can I become my brother's support? So if there's a team or a leader that's constantly missing for you, rather than get frustrated, have a coffee, have a lunch. Hey, I want to be honest. Some of what's not happening in your team is affecting my team, but I know you're doing your best. How can I help you? Like, how can I cover you? How can I do what you're not doing right now? What do you need? And that right there, oh man, that brings such longevity to a church. It keeps the environment joyful. It stops the murmuring of frustration, because I'll tell you what, you can't be frustrated and it not spill over to every other environment. I, as a leader, might be wounded, but I never want to bleed all over you. And I don't want to allow the frustration of one Sunday to be a vent that I do about my team. It might seem harmless and it might seem like our right. But the thing is this, the family's getting bigger. Yeah. And we don't have a big foyer like we did anymore. We've got a big foyer, we just got more people in it. And so now, guess what? The auditorium's our foyer. So guess what? You're preaching when you're packing down. Yeah. You're recruiting for your team when you're packing down. And if you look angry when you're packing down, expect that no one will build that pack down team. No one's joining a team that's frustrated. They're going to go over to the team that looks fun. Yeah. And if the team that looks fun is kids, kids will grow.
Yeah, that's so true.
There's a lot of, I've heard this from parents in ministry, is that quite often their kids didn't end up in ministry because they just watched them complain about ministry. You are always a signpost of your team, and you always have the opportunity to cover your brother. If one of your friends in team or department leadership or any leadership is missing, walk in backwards and see how you can assist. I think that is one of the key moments of extreme ownership. Second thing is front foot leadership versus back foot leadership. Front foot leadership is when you look down the line and think through what might take place and try to account for it. Make decisions ahead of time versus having to make them retrospectively. There's place and leadership merit in both, actually. You could do a great lesson on retrospective leadership and also, looking down the line and seeing things ahead of time leadership. But I just want to put this out there. How do you continue to make decisions by looking down the line at what might be coming your way? Has it been 6 months since you've onboarded a new team leader? Well, then what might be coming down your way is a team that is shrinking instead of growing. Have you ever taken the leadership badge of honor of busyness? Oh, I'm just so busy. I'm too busy. Oh, I'm so busy. Man, I would love to do that, but I'm so busy. We think that that's good leadership. Good leadership is not when you're busy, because it means you're hoarding all the tasks and you're not releasing people. I said this leads to the spiritual gifts. Well, guys, guess what? Every single person in our church has a spiritual gift. And if I keep doing too much, I'm causing them to not do enough. I'm stunting their opportunity to pour out. I'm stunting their opportunity to discover that they've got the gift of leadership or the gift of encouragement. It's as I do ministry with people that ministry gets better for everybody. I don't know if Jesus was nervous that the disciples were going to spill the wine on that first one, but he included them anyway. I don't know if logistically he thought they were going to get the bread and the fish to everybody evenly, but he included them anyway. Why? Because this is not about getting it right all the time. It's about getting it started. And if you get it started and you've got good processes, eventually you'll get it right. Let's empower people to be part of it. Let's continue to be people that look down the line and go, man, I'm going to have a problem with people on our stage if I'm not recruiting singers. Right? Here's the other thing with extreme ownership that I thought I'd put is, instead of complaining that you don't have decision-making power, suggest to take things off your leader's plate. One of the most empowering things I did for my own leadership and my leader's leadership is I just said this. I went up to my pastor and I said, hey, I've noticed that I get stuck needing this from you. and then I also know you've got too much on your plate. Would you feel comfortable releasing me to taking this off your plate? And if not, could you list the things that would make me trustworthy with that? Because I want to grow into them so that you don't have to do them. And then it would also release me to do what I need to do better. That led to me taking over the security team on a Saturday night, taking over the rostering. Like these things, I just thought if he hasn't given it to me, he doesn't want to. But we forget that leaders are human. And sometimes they're afraid to ask. Sometimes they're not sure if you even want it. Sometimes they don't want to overburden. And one of the greatest things you could do in extreme ownership is, I see you're carrying too much. How can I carry with you? That'll help you with the parameters around decision-making processes, which is what span of control is about. You can go up to Pastor Jake and go, hey, this is functioning in college or not functioning. You've got so much on your plate. Bree's got so much on their plate. I'm a second-year student. So I want to be a leader. Can I take this off your plate for you? That's great. And if not, is there a reason you wouldn't trust me with it? Both avenues lead to growth. You find out something, because I'll tell you what, the people that get the best feedback are the people that invite it and receive it. The people that rarely get feedback are the people that get offended by it, hurt by it, and run from it. Because even though you're the leader and it is your responsibility, nobody wants to have to walk to a conversation that someone's angry about. And so anyway, these are just small keys. I could no way cover all this topic in one staffy. But my goal today was just to share a few thoughts, make some space for some questions. And just to let you know, guys, please, I would rather you get it wrong moving forward than we get it wrong while you stand still. If you've been given a budget, look, Shannon's got controls on that, use it. If you know it's going to further the team, do it. If you think it's going to further the vision, go for it. Communicate up before you do it always, but don't let that stop you. If it's a good thing, head towards it and learn. Like, we need to be a team that moves, and I would rather someone takes down the next steps banner because it's blocking too much of the foyer and moves it to the end without anyone's permission, because I'm like, man, you're a legend. You know the best thing that happened while I was in Mexico? We bought a soundboard and an LED wall, and I didn't give permission to one of those. And it was fantastic because I didn't have to be involved. And I was like, that's good leadership. We got a climate-controlled space. That's good leadership. Like, I love this stuff. When you do it, man, you help us. I just want you to know that your ideas are probably more important, smarter, and greater than you know. Your skill sets could be so valuable just for 30 minutes. Your communication is key. And I think venting is useless communication. But sitting across from someone and expressing and partnering, we would all be better for it. My goal in this next season is, how do I make you the leader that Jake and Gio and all these guys were before? Because we need you to step up and step in. And I know that you guys have it in you. We've got an incredible college student roster. We've got great volunteers. We've got great grow group leaders here. So anyway, my goal is to empower you. We've got 4 minutes for any questions on the subject. Maybe I or any of the leaders here can clarify a bit on it. I mean, first of all, was this helpful? Does this help? I hope it helps.
Can you repeat the 2 questions again? Like, number one is, can I help you with this? And the second question.
Yeah, can I help you with this? Can I take this off your plate because I see you're busy? And if you don't trust me with it, what could I get good at so you could trust me with it? It might be as small as, hey man, I rostered you 3 times and you slept in all 3 of them. I can't trust you with the keys because you might not open the doors. And that's an easy fix. That's a month of you showing up on time. That's easy.
I think I have a question. So how do you, as a leader, how do you kind of differentiate between somebody who's just constantly giving ideas, which is great, but then also somebody that's just giving you suggestions that are becoming annoying because they don't want to do anything about the suggestions?
Yes. There is a difference between a critical spirit, a suggestion box, and a team. I would always say this: if I'm going to suggest something, I'm going to make myself available to some capacity. At the very least, I'm going to be a sounding board. I'm either going to offer my time, or I'm at least going to put enough effort to get it into the right channels and again, ask them, if you have any questions, I'm here. But I think a suggestion must come with ownership, and ownership must have skin in the game.
As I was listening, I was thinking about, I guess, being the leader who's receiving all of this, and what I've appreciated about you is like you always, whatever you're hearing, you're always looking for like, yep, I can own that, or I'm taking that in. Like, I guess could you share more about your mindset in just receiving the suggestions?
Oh yeah, that's a great question, Bree, because it was a milestone in my leadership that really gave me a lot of peace. Pastor Angel and Lucy could definitely attest to this, and maybe anyone that's been in ministry for a minute. When you meet with people say, I want to talk to you, it can become the most heart-sinking, stomach-sinking moment in ministry, because you're like, great, what are you going to complain about? What did I do wrong, and when are you leaving? And we had a bad conversation with that once, and Ords just turned to me in bed and she said, I don't think we did that right. And when she said we, she was being graceful because it was me. And I said, I know. And as I rolled over, I just felt like the Holy Spirit, God just spoke to me, said, Chris, what is the mark of being a good leader? And he just said, as soon as he said that, he said, is it always being right? And I said, well, no. He goes, then what is it? I said, the first thing that came out was quick to change, quick to say sorry, and the ability to elevate the best idea. And I felt like supernaturally that day, something shifted in my value set, where my value as a human and as a leader was no longer in my performance, but in my ability to elevate. And so if I could elevate myself through change, if I could elevate myself through an apology, or I could elevate the best idea, then all of a sudden, I felt like that's what good leaders do. Because leadership is a skill set in and of itself. And it's not the most talented person. It's the person who knows how to get the most talent out of a person. That's a good leader to me. So if I have to be the most talented, I'm going to live on very shaky ground that's going to make me very, counter feedback. But if my skill set is getting the most talent out of someone, then I actually thrive on feedback. Because it's my opportunity to live out my values. If my values are to say sorry, change quickly, and elevate, any moment of feedback, all three of those are going to be present, and I get to shine. So I think a good leader shines in moments of feedback. I had a friend that's pretty public, and he issued an apology publicly, and we spoke straight away, and I praised them for it. And I was like, to me, I said, this is something leaders don't do. And you just proved your salt as a leader in that moment. And so I think it's a value that whenever I've embraced, it brought me peace. And I think people around you feel comfort too. Because just because you're leader, and I know we've gone a little over by 1 minute, but I'll just say this. My biggest learning 3 years ago was that I can say I'm a leader with an open door, but people are still afraid to walk through that door because you're a leader. So I have to now live my life as an open door theme so that people will walk through the open door. And I've always got to get better at that. And it's a tension point. It's tough. You got to be strong, but you also got to be, and you got to invite strength around you, but you also got to be moldable. So that could be a staff in and of itself. But and that requires both mature people around you and being a mature leader, which I think that's another thing I'd say, Bree, is if you're going to give feedback, you also have to be ready to receive it. A lot of people walk into a room expecting to be praised, hear an apology, and agreed with. But it must be a double-edged sword that you're willing to live with. If I'm going to give feedback, I'll receive it. And there's no time in any, and even in the construct of marriage, there's never a time that I can say, like, anything we've spoken through is just one of our faults. So in essence, offering feedback, you're always going to receive some. And so it both needs to be an environment that can give it and receive it, and a leader that can give it and receive it. That too, that's symbiotic, and that's powerful. All right, everyone. Well, you guys are amazing. Enjoy your lunches. Eat up, or don't, because you ate at Thanksgiving. Enjoy, guys. See you Sunday.